A very warm welcome from wherever you're joining us. This is Health and Lifestyle. My name is Marie Yambo, and this is the show that brings you all matters health. Our social media handles at Marie Yambo, at KBC Channel 1 on X, and also KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook. Changing weather patterns have a way of impacting our health. Recently, the Kenya Meteorological Department released the March, April, May weather report, which indicates that near to above average rainfall is expected over the Lake Victoria Basin, South Rift Valley, and most of the highlands west of the Rift Valley. And near to below average rainfall is expected over Central Rift Valley, highlands east of the Rift Valley, and so forth. However, there are negative impacts, such as flooding may result in increased deaths and water contamination, causing outbreaks of waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and even bilharzia. Well, that will be the focus of the program today, where we'll be taking a look at some of the negative impacts in as far as flooding is concerned, or heavy rainfall for that matter. Coming up on the program, dreading the rainy season. Kenyans urged to take health precautions to avert waterborne diseases.
Tunafaa nguo mingi yani na kujikinga vizuri, kufaa kama ni gumboot, kama kuna nyesa ndio usipate kuna magonjwa unacho inapitia hata kwa uchafu.
How have Kenyans prepared for the rainy season? Details on Word on the Streets. And later on Good Practice, we give you tips on how to stay safe and healthy during the rainy season. And to our first segment, Erica and Frederick know too well the impact of flooding. Not only did they lose their home during the recent flooding, they also faced health challenges. Here is their story. The past rainy season is an experience that Erica will forever carry in her mind. Like many of her neighbors who live along the Nairobi riverbank, she had always kept a close watch on the water levels to avoid potential disasters.
Wakati mwingine mvua ikinyesha tunakuwa ready, maybe maji inaweza kuja kwa mto itoke nje. So tukiona mvua imekuja, huwa tunatokanga nje. Tukiona maji ni mingi, huwa tunatokanga nje, tunawacha kila kitu kwa nyumba na tunatoka nje, pali iko safe. Lakini hii tulilala tu.
However, on that particular night, she had no reason to worry, as she quietly retired to bed unaware of the impending catastrophe.
Kuamshwa mimi kuitika, kila kitu inaswim juu, vyombo, nini, kila kitu ishafika mpaka kwa mattress na mimi nimelala, sijui. Sasa kushuka chini nikashuka kama maji inanifikia hapa. Dakika hiyo kidogo maji inafika hapa, sijajua naenda wapi ama nafanya nini.
Her neighbor Frederick Pande recalls that fateful night vividly.
And it was sweeping everything, especially the houses which we had. Okay, so the walls would just swing out and it was going away. So it swept all the food I had, it went. All the medications I had, it went. All the beddings were hard, it went.
For both Erica and Frederick, who are hypertensive, the loss was overwhelming.
My medicine went, so I could not get any medication. So, second, I had pressure.
Dawa zote, kila kitu yenye ilikuwa kwa hiyo nyumba zilitoka nje tu. Nilifeel niko upweke dakika hiyo, na nikaangalia, nikaona sasa kama hizi ndio vitu niko nayo kidogo na imeza sana, ninaenda wapi? Pressure ikapanda juu.
Frederick, who had lived in the area for 26 years, now resides with a relative. Where his home once stood, only rubble remains following the government's directive to demolish houses along the riverbank. Living in such precarious conditions has taken a significant toll on his health. In addition to his hypertension, he has developed other complications, including type 2 diabetes and mental health issues.
Okay, the mental health issue I developed because I could be thinking of what is happening to my people. It was terrible. Second, I was thinking, where will I get another house? The other thing, I could not sleep, so it affected me mentally. In fact, up to now, it has affected me mentally because sometimes when I speak, I stammer a bit, which was not there. Yes, so it has really affected me, especially thinking of my people and where I'm going to sleep or live and where I'm going to eat food. Where I stayed for 26 years getting everything well, now it's no longer there.
Access to clean water and sanitation facilities became a serious challenge for the slum dwellers, exposing Erica and her grandchildren to waterborne diseases.
Kwa sababu hakuna toilet yenye mnaenda ambao ni hiyo kiwango yetu, maji iliingia. Matope everywhere. Na ni matope mpaka hata ukiingia kwa choo unakanyaga matope. Ujui kama unakanyaga pupu ama unakanyaga matope. Na tuko nao watoto hapo wanaenda choo kujisaidia na wanatoka nje. So diarrhea ikakuja, watu wakaanza kutapika na kuhara.
For many of these victims, moving is simply not an option. In response, the Kenya Red Cross has been providing crucial support to the affected communities. Perhaps the government's affordable housing program could be the solution.
It is a place where you can easily go in and go out safely. A doctor can come in or out very safely.
Ningependa sana kuishi mahali pengine. Lakini kulingana na vile niko, siwezi ishi mahali pengine. Naweza pata pesa hiyo kidogo yenye nalipa nayo nyumba kama hii. Na siwezi pata pesa nilipe nayo hata nyumba ya mawe. Lakini kupenda kwangu mimi, ningeishi kwa nyumba ya mawe. Ningesikia mzuri kama wengine.
And as the rains begin again, the memories of that devastating night are revived, bringing the trauma back to the forefront.
Kama saa hii, tumeona mvua ilinyesha sana. Hata ikianza kunyesha watu wanatokanga nje tu. Hujui ni nini inaweza happen. Uoga imerudi. Hata pressure imepanda.
The rain is coming. It has already started affecting me, in fact, because I'm thinking of what happened to me the other side. It's going to happen again to me. So it is really terrifying me.
Well, and from Erica and Frederick, we now want to take a look at what Kenyans are saying are some of their safety precautions during this rainy season on Word on the Streets.
Yes, about my health, I make sure that I'm warm always. I make sure that when I go out, I make sure that I arrive in the house very early so that I don't get cold. Make sure I put on very warm clothes. At home, I make sure that I'm treating water because I know that I have kids, and when it is raining, the manholes or sewages mixed with the water. So I make sure that I treat my water so that my kids are safe from diarrhea. And also I make sure that around my house, my place, I make sure that it's clean, because when we are out there, we get dirty, and I make sure that I clean the area, the compound. I clean my house always with soap so that my kids could not get diarrhea. And also malaria, I make sure that if there is grass near, I make sure that I clear the grass around me.
During this rainy season, I have prepared myself by having the warm clothes. I make sure my house is not having a lot of things inside, so that the insects like the mosquitoes will not hide themselves there. I retreat the water, I boil water, and I make sure the other water is treated. And I put the water in a jerrycan and I make sure that it is closed well. I will also make sure that everything is clean and tidy and no heaping of things there. The clothes are kept well. Everything is put in order.
Ilikuwa affected wakati wa mvua, wakati ilikuwa inapita na nyumba za watu, hata nyumba yangu ilipitwa nayo, sawa. And then sasa tukaambiwa tusonge kando ya mto, nyumba zikaanza kubomolewa, unaona? Kaenda mali safe, at least kando na mto.
Huwa unafaa nguo mingi ndio usipatwe na hiyo masida ya kama hiyo ya ugonjwa ya kukohoa. Unafaa nguo mingi yani na kujikinga vizuri, kufaa kama ni gumboot kama kunanyesha ndio usipate kuna magonjwa unachona inapitia hata kwa uchafu.
Na ninavaa jacket na ninahakikisha kwamba nakuwa niko safe. Yaani nivae jacket vizuri ndio nikitoka hata nisiweze kuingiwa na baridi pamoja na hiyo limoni isiweze kunipata. Lakini kwa upande mwingine pia vile serikali kama serikali nao pia inafaa kuingilia, kwa sababu kama unavyoona condition ya saizi hakuna drainage, hakuna nini, uchafu ni mwingi, hakuna hata maji yakinyesha, hakuna mahali maji yanaweza tokea. Na at the same time pia vile tunaona kanjo wakifurusha watu. So hiyo pia nao ni kitu serikali pia inafaa kuangalia kwa upande mwingine, kwa sababu hiyo mambo mengine, mambo ya diarrhea na vitu vingine, magonjwa kama yanasababishwa na uchafu. Kwa hiyo na condition isli hata mkiangalia si mnaona kwa barabara kwa mfano kama 6 7 mpaka hapo Garissa Lodge na ni soko kubwa, ukiangalia si unaona vile iko. So hiyo nao pia serikali nao pia inafaa kuingilia. Kuna ile mtu anaweza kujikinga binafsi na kuna ile nyingine ambapo ni ya serikali ndio inafaa kutake, yani ichukue hiyo nafasi ya kuhakikisha kwamba haya maji yanatoka, kupunguza uchafu ili kuepuka na magonjwa kama hayo.
On that note, we take a break, but we'll be back with much more, including some of the safety precautions that you can take during this rainy season. That is all coming up in our Good Practice segment, so stay tuned. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now want to delve deeper into some of the safety precautions you can take during this rainy season. But of course, we first of all want to look at what are some of the health implications that can affect us during this rainy season. So thank you so much, Hezron, for taking the time to be with us in the program. But let's begin. The rainy season is here. You know, a few weeks ago, the Kenya Meteorological Department did, announce and give a report of what to expect during the long rainy season, which is the March, April to May, rainy season. But before we get to some of the measures that can be put in place, let's talk about some of the challenges. As Red Cross, the biggest humanitarian organization, if I may put it that way, you deal a lot with, these issues on the ground, especially during the flooding and mudslides and all that. But paint for us that picture of some of the health challenges that come about as a result of the heavy rains.
Just like we experienced last year, we had a very serious effect of the rain, mostly in Nairobi, that we've never had before for years. Many people that were living, many community members that were living along the river lines, especially in areas like Madare, areas like Mukuru, they were heavily affected by this rain, in the sense that the houses where they were living were completely washed down, therefore leaving them homeless at that particular point. Despite this rain displacing this population in many parts of the Nairobi that it was, and of course other parts of the country, but now specifically Nairobi, it came also with a number of health problems. Apart from these common diseases like that we were able to see during this rainy season, cholera, typhoid, and other diarrheal diseases, this rain goes beyond the effect goes beyond just this communicable disease like I mentioned. It also has a serious impact on non-communicable diseases. It has a serious impact on the mental well-being of these clients.
Who are the most affected?
I also say by saying that I think the rains affect majority, like almost everyone in the rain season, but then you'll find that children and women are mostly affected.
Are we really prepared to handle disasters? From what you've seen, working with the community, especially during, I don't say the rainy season, but generally during disasters?
I'll say most of the time disasters find us unaware. Most of the time it happens as such, but then as an organization, we work closely with the government, and also on our own we develop what we call contingency plans. These contingency plans have measures in which we put in place to ensure that just before the disasters arise and also during the disasters, we are able to handle them. For instance, the preparedness measure that we put in place, like I mentioned, to insulate people from the severe nature of this disaster that come, the early warning that we give to the people is a very critical area. Just telling them, we are going to have the floods. If you are staying in a place that are prone to landslide, please get away from that place. If you're staying in a place that gets flooded most of the time, move on from that area. And I also mentioned the CBD, community-based response team from the Kenya Red Cross. They're always at the ground sensitizing people about the possible. Anytime, even during this time, before it starts, they're already doing it at the communities, just sensitizing people about the possible effect of those floods. And then at some point, we send even bulk SMSs to community and the people, just to sensitize them that at this time, they are likely to be floods. What can you do when they are going to be those floods? So briefly, just to say, those are the measures that we put in place. But then during, even before that, we continue to resource mobilize. We resource mobilize because during emergencies, it's a resource constraint situation. We need a lot of resources to manage most of these floods. We most of the time cannot tell how the interest that is going to be and the effect that is going to be there. So we mobilize resources from our partners, from the donors, to ensure that at least we have something from our end as an organization to be able to respond when such kind of things occur. And that's why you realize that as an organization, we are first to be there when such kind of things we're the first to get in and we're the last to get out. That is our preparedness measures as an organization. But again, sometimes generally at the community level, it finds most of the time when they are not prepared.
People are being told to move to safer places. After that, they come back again, and can I say rebuild in the same areas that they're going to be affected in case the rains fall. So why do you think that people don't heed this communication of moving to, can I say, a safer place?
Most of the time, people that stay in those areas are vulnerable population, especially those people that stay in flood-prone areas, those people that stay along the river lines. They are very vulnerable population, and therefore at some point they have no alternative of a place that they will go. We realize that along that areas, even the rent that they pay is a little bit affordable to them, and therefore getting to another place becomes a problem to them. But be it like it is, we have to continue to sensitize them about the dangers that are there of staying in the same areas, and also looking at other livelihood measures that they can have so that they can move in other places. We want to thank other organizations. We want to thank even the government of Kenya for coming and working together with the organization Kenya Red Cross, because at that time when there was a serious floods last year, working together with the government and other humanitarian organizations, we had to look even to get resources that was able to resettle these people to other places.
Do you think it's high time that the government looks at housing as a health issue and not just a matter of putting a roof over people's heads?
Poor housing predisposes people to a number of diseases, a number of conditions, the health condition, and we thank government even for the housing program that they came up with recently. We are seeing government putting up housing in many places, even in the formal settlement like Kibra. We've seen some housing program being done in that areas. I think what needs to be done, and probably an area of improvement from the government. I know one need, even this Boma Yangu or the housing program that the government has, most of the people staying in this informal settlement may not even know the process that they can use to apply for these houses or even get to these houses. And as a basic need that is supposed to be there, we really encourage government to be intentional. Like when these people are staying where they are, this should be the priority. People to be encouraged, to be sensitized that these houses, even people who are where they are at the lowest economic pyramid, they can be able to afford these houses, and where they are not able to afford, the government even does more subsidy for them.
Public is also exposed in one way or another. What are some of the health issues that, as a general public, we should be looking out for, and how do you mitigate against them?
The key issues that are likely to be there during rainy season for the general public, we have issues like cholera affecting quite many people, mostly in Nairobi. And what people need to do at that time, we need to encourage the people to observe hygiene. We wash hands every other time before we eat our food, and also even this food that we eat raw, maybe things like kachumbari, the fruits, we need to ensure that they are washed with the clean water. And even brushing, sometimes when you brush, you just brush with the clean water, not the dirty water that can have waterborne diseases affecting us.
So thank you so much, Hezron, for making the time for us. But before we part ways, probably you could look into the camera and just talk to the people. What will be your advice to them, especially now that you're already in the rainy season?
As an organization, our value proposition, we always say we are always there. And we are always there when anything happens, during the floods, during any form of disaster, road traffic accident, any disaster, be it drought, be it fire. As an organization, we are always there. And therefore, we also call upon to the general public that when there's a disaster like it is, let's be our brothers' keepers, let's be our sisters' keepers.
During the rainy season, the World Health Organization, the WHO, recommends focusing on hygiene, staying hydrated, avoiding stagnant water, and practicing food safety to minimize health risks. Here are some of the health precautions you can take. Wash hands frequently with soap and water, especially after using the toilet, before preparing food, and after being outdoors. Drink clean, safe water, preferably boiled or filtered. Avoid contact with stagnant water, as it can be a breeding ground for bacteria and disease-carrying insects. Practice proper waste disposal to prevent mosquito breeding and spread of diseases. When it comes to food safety, cook food thoroughly to kill bacteria and viruses, and avoid street food, as it may not be prepared under hygienic conditions. Pay particular attention to food storage, ensuring food is stored in a clean and safe manner to prevent spoilage. For your personal protection, use mosquito nets or repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites, which can transmit diseases like malaria and dengue fever. Wear appropriate clothing to keep yourself and your loved ones warm. Be cautious when driving or walking in heavy rain, as visibility can be poor and roads may be slippery. Boost your immunity by eating a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and protein to strengthen your immune system. And of course, ensure you get enough sleep to help your body fight off infections. And what to do during a flood or flash flood warning? If you must travel during flooding, remember, do not walk through flowing water. 6 inches of swiftly moving water can knock you off your feet, and cars can be swept away in only 2 feet of moving water. Last but not least, if you experience any symptoms of illness, seek medical attention promptly. And there you have it. Those are some of the safety precautions that you can take to ensure you and your loved ones are safe and healthy during this rainy season. And of course, on behalf of everyone who made this program possible, the production team, and of course, our guests, Erica, Frederick, and also Hezron from the Kenya Red Cross, for gracing our program. And so if you've missed any part of this program, remember, you can always catch it on our YouTube channel. My name is Marie Yambo, and I hope to see you again next time.